Hey guys, DJ 12 here, back again for another round. Glad to be with you, glad that you are with us, and welcome to another episode of 12's Kitchen. We got some really cool stuff on deck today. So I hope you guys enjoy, sit back, relax, and see what I have to offer today as we continue on my food prep journey. This is 12's Kitchen. We'll be right back. Thanks for watching. Alright, welcome back. Today for 12's Kitchen, we got some really cool stuff on deck. Just to start with, you know, when I started to get back into the kitchen and doing meal prep again, I wanted to have more diverse options in terms of what I ate on a day-to-day basis. Now, I've done meal prep before many years ago, and back then I was really basic. Like, I was actually going to do a mock-up of how I used to meal prep back in the day. Basically what it would be some baked chicken cubed up, some baked or boiled sweet potatoes cubed up, and some steamed broccoli. And that was like my dinner or my lunch, maybe both, like Monday through Friday. And while it's sustainable in the sense that, you know, you're getting all your nutrients, you know, veggies, your protein, your complex carbohydrates from the sweet potatoes. It was just meh, blah, boring, right? So when I started to embark on this journey, this most recent time, I decided I wanted to diversify my palate a little bit. And I'm a foodie by nature. I like different, you know, flavors, different cultures, all kind of different spices and herbs and all of that stuff in my food. And so I felt like I wanted to do more to incorporate those elements into my day-to-day meal prep. And so just so you understand, like, prepping your meals on a day-to-day basis doesn't mean you have to be like robotic how I was back in the day when it came to how I meal prep. I was real basic, and you know, it's still all about saving money too. And also, like we've already alluded to in a couple of previous episodes, being more efficient in the kitchen, saving yourself a lot of time, because no one wants to spend a whole lot of time in the kitchen. That being said, so what we're going to do today is we're going to work on some sauces or some dressings, or you might want to call them a spread. So I like sandwiches, I like wraps, I like salads, and so I like to make my own sauces and dressings at home whenever I can. So we've got 3 on deck for you today. We're going to do a lemon basil for a veggie wrap, perhaps, or a salad dressing. We're going to do a lemon dill dressing. That's a spread or a dressing for a wrap or a burger or a sandwich. And also we're going to do a chipotle lime dressing / spread as well, that you can use for multiple applications. And all I wanted to do with these different sauces was just to add different flavor elements to the different dishes I was making, whether it be a sandwich or a wrap, or, you know, even a dip for some veggies or something like that. These sauces / dressings I'm going to make for you today are pretty versatile, and you can kind of interchange them with whatever you're making on any given day. Alright, so before we get started, I want to re-emphasize something I talked about in the previous episode, and that is mise en place. Mise en place, everything in its place. it helps you to be much more efficient in the kitchen, in my estimation. And if I'm not mistaken, it's one of the first things you learn at the Culinary Academy. So if you ever go to cooking school, the Culinary Arts Academy, CAA, California Academy of Culinary Arts, whatever. If you go to get schooling to be a chef, one of the first things you're going to talk about is organization in the kitchen. And I like to be as organized as possible. So, that being said, I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about mise en place, or having everything in its place. Alright, just left to right, just so you see what we are working with here. We've got all of our ingredients ready to go, because this first dressing that we're going to make, the lemon basil dressing, I'm making it in a blender. Usually my sauces or dressings I make in a mixing bowl, and I have that out there for the other two that I'm going to make shortly. But yeah, I just wanted to show you mise en place. I got everything ready to go. Olive oil, yogurt, salt, pepper, vessel for the dressing, a little honey, because this dressing has a little honey in it. Got my garlic over there, garlic press, lemon juicer, and my lemon. Alright, so this is what I'm talking about when I say mise en place. Everything in its place, everything ready to go, organized. Again, so I don't spend so much time in the kitchen. I like to be as efficient as possible, because I have other pursuits as well. You know, 12 is a DJ, got live mixes and pre-recorded mixes out on my Mixcloud page. In negotiations with a internet radio station for my services right now. So, you know, like I said, 12 has other interests. So we like to be as efficient as possible when it comes to being in the kitchen, because I like to spend my time on other things. And so do you. All right? So again, make sure your mise en place is all together before you get started, so you're not in the middle of making something and you have to go reach somewhere else to get something, or run back to the fridge to get something. Spend all your time in one place getting it knocked out. Next thing you know, you're done. Moving on to the next thing, whatever that may be. Alright, so we're going to get started right now on this lemon basil dressing right here. This should be a good one. Alright, so prepping out our lemon basil dressing, we are going to start with a ½ cup of strained Greek yogurt. I prefer Greek yogurt in this application as opposed to mayo, because it's got a good high protein content, and it makes a nice creamy tangy dressing. Alright, next thing we want to do, we want to get some fresh basil. Alright, got some fresh basil there, very fragrant, very aromatic. And we want to pick basically about a cup or so. And we don't have to rough chop this, but we do want to get rid of we don't want any of the stems. So we really just want the leaves. And we're going to add these to the blender as well. Ooh. Just picking the basil. Just pick some basil. You want a good fistful of basil, I would say. So roughly about a cup. If you were going to chop it beforehand, which we're not going to do because we're using the blender, you could just chop up discard the stems and cut up the leaves. You just have to rough chop them, coarsely chop them, because you're still going to put them in the blender, and the blender is going to do the majority of the work for you. So just about a handful or so of basil. That's roughly about enough. I'm going to pick a little bit more. I like that floral basil. I like the aroma as well as the taste. So I'm going to go a little bit heavier on the basil. Okay. That's a good amount. I think that's a good amount of basil right there. Again, roughly about a cup of, whether it's leaves or already coarsely chopped basil. is sufficient enough for this recipe. So I'm going to go ahead and throw those in the blender. Alright, so we want also the juice of a lemon. Now, you want to make sure you get as much juice out of your lemon as possible. Make sure you clean it off too beforehand. But sometimes the lemons are kind of stiff, kind of tight. So in order to make sure you get the most juice out of them, you could do one of two things. You can pop them in a microwave for about 15 seconds or so, maybe 30, depending on how tough they are and how stiff they are. Make sure you let them cool down completely before you use them in anything. You don't want to get hot lemon juice in your eye. Boy, I tell you about that. I've never had it happen, but I can imagine it would be pretty bad. The second thing you could do is take the lemon and place it onto a flat surface and gently roll it back and forth until you feel it loosening up. And when it's pretty loose, that means you're going to get the most juice out of the lemon. Alright? So we are going to, and we've already done this beforehand, but I want to show you that method. Just press down on it and slowly roll it back and forth until you can feel it getting juicier, basically. Alright? So we're going to halve this lemon. Oh, see, so juicy. And then we're going to squeeze this lemon into the blender. This is part of our dressing. Yeah. Roughly about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. There we go. And you can squeeze the lemon by hand, of course. But if you do, because of the seeds, you want to make sure that you hold your hand over the blender to make sure you catch all the seeds as they come out. All right? Ooh, a little more juice there. Get it all. All right. Next, we're going to add a garlic clove. Just 1 garlic clove. Next, 1.5 tablespoons of honey. And the honey is not here for sweetness. It is more to balance out the acidity from the lemon, the tartness from the yogurt, because I'm using plain yogurt here. You want to make sure you're using plain yogurt. And it will basically kind of tame that tartness, as well as enhance the floral element of the basil. All right, a little bit of salt, just a little bit of salt, pinch, about 1/8 of a teaspoon, a little bit of pepper. All right, and we're going to blend this until the basil, lemon juice, and the yogurt come together. All right, so about 30 seconds to a minute. We're going to pulse this, all right? And if you have to, get that, scrape down the sides a little bit and get that last piece of basil in there. All right, a couple more pulses. Basil's still not chopped. Get a little bit, couple more pulses. That is already very tasty. Couple more pulses. All right, so you're looking for that kind of consistency. See that there? All right, so now at this point, all of our main flavors are melded together. We are going to drizzle in, take the top off of your blender. I just took the top off of my blender top, or the cap, the center cap. We are going to run the blender on low, and we're going to stream in 1/4 cup of good quality olive oil. Don't cheap out on this. You're making a good dressing. Use a better quality olive oil. All right. So we're going to run our blender on low. And then we're going to stream in our olive oil. Okay, I talked about getting lemon in your eye. I got lemon in my eye. Did I get it? All right. And there you have it. Our lemon basil dressing. So there you have it, our lemon basil dressing here. I'm going to give it just a little taste. Very delicious. And again, with the yogurt, you can reduce or add yogurt depending on how you like your dressing. In this particular case, I usually use this dressing for a veggie wrap, and I don't like it super runny. So in this case, I use a little bit more yogurt. But if you like it a little thinner, use a little bit less yogurt. That's not a problem. And the thing about most of these sauces and dressings that we're going to make today is that they only keep for about 3 or 4 days. So you want to make sure you're adjusting your recipes in order to accommodate however often you're going to eat these. I mean, if you're cooking them, if you're using this for like wraps for a family of 4 for a couple of days or so, this is good. This would be a good amount. This yields you about 8 ounces or so of, well, this is an 8-ounce container, so this is 8 ounces of dressing here. So make sure you adjust your recipe accordingly. I'm doing mostly like rough calculations on my recipes because I'm only cooking for one. So if you're cooking for more than yourself, then adjust the recipe up or down as you need. All right. So we're gonna do a little cleanup. Then we're gonna move on to the next dressing we got which is a lemon dill dressing that I like to use for multiple applications. DJ 12, come on back. We'll see you shortly. Cleanup done. Moving on to the next. Now, the next 2 sauces I'm going to prepare for you today have pretty much the same flavor base. It's just the herbal element as well as another component that separates them and makes them both a little bit different. So what we're going to work on now is the lemon dill spread slash dressing. And again, I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see my mise en place. All right. All right. So starting with the dill fronds, lemon, mayo, sour cream, all my utensils that are needed, salt and pepper, and my mixing bowl. With the I was going to call these fennel fronds, and I apologize. But with the dill, we're only going to be focusing on the fronds only. So we're not going to use any of the stem, fronds only. All right, and so we're going to get into making this lemon dill dressing. Got my garlic press out because we're definitely going to use that microplane for some lemon zest. Holla at your koala. It's your boy DJ 12 with the mise en place doing these sauces for you today. Holla at your koala. All right, so we're ready to build our lemon dill dressing. We've already gone ahead. As you can see, I've picked the the dill fronds from the stems, just the fronds only, and we want about 2 tablespoons of those finely chopped. So we're going to go first with the mayo. Get that in there. I should be using that. All right. Mayo, sour cream. All right, and that is our base. And like I said, usually going to use like a 2-to-1 ratio. So usually about half a cup of mayo and 2 tablespoons or so of sour cream. And again, I'm cooking just for me, so you can adjust this however you need to based on your family, your taste, your liking. All right. So next we are going to take our knife. We're just going to finely chop the dill. And again, I probably picked a little bit too much. You only need about 2 tablespoons of this. I love the dill flavor. So you can put as much of this dill in here as you like. And again, the same concept applies with the base versus the liquid. If you want it more runny, then you're going to add a little more liquid. In this case, it's going to be lemon juice. If you like it a little creamier, you're going to have a little bit less. So, and you can always adjust as you go along. So, we are pretty good on the dill here. I've got more than I need. That is for sure. That is for sure. All right. Dill nicely chopped. And again, you only need about 2 tablespoons of this. So I'm going to grab like that's a nice little bunch right there and throw that into the bowl. All right. Now I'm going to get my trusty garlic press. And I'm going to press just 1 clove of garlic into the base. I am a garlic head. I put fresh garlic in almost every single thing that I cook. And these sauces are no exception. Alright. Next comes the lemon juice. But before I juice the lemon, we're going to take my microplane here and get a little lemon zest in here. Give it a little extra lemon pop. And make sure when you are, if you're using lemon zest, this is optional, but if you're using lemon zest, make sure that you don't go past the white pith. All right, you see that? You don't want to go any further than that, because once you get into the pithy part of the peel, it gets really bitter, but the initial zest has a lot of the lemon oils in it, and it gives you a nice little fresh pop of lemon to your sauce. So remember, use fresh lemon zest whenever possible. Whenever possible. Only the very outer part of the peel. That is what is considered the zest. You go down past the white, no bueno. Alright, so that's a fair amount. So now we're going to cut our lemon in half and juice it. Oh, that one was real juicy. Remember the tip I showed you earlier about rolling them out? Yeah, I may only need half a lemon for this because it is so juicy. But we'll determine after we mix everything together and test the consistency. All right. So we'll start with a half a lemon. That's already looking like it's enough, so we'll see. All right, and then lastly, just a little bit of salt and pepper. Just a touch of salt and pepper. All right. Salt, black pepper. All right, take our trusty whisk. Blend all of those flavors together. And yeah, this is a little thick for me. Oh, but so tasty. So I'm gonna add a little bit more lemon juice just to thin out the sauce a little bit. Okay. And I'll start with a little bit at a time so I don't make it too runny. So just a light squeeze. And I may also need to readjust the seasoning after I've blended everything together. A little bit more. A little bit more. So roughly about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, but you can use as much or as little of the lemon as possible depending on what consistency you prefer. And again, I prefer mine a little more like a spread or borderline between like a spread and a dressing. You can use this, you know, like I said, I use these spreads for wraps and sandwiches a lot, but you can use them for burgers. You could dip veggies in these, lemon and dill with some carrots and some celery. Get the F out of here, man. That sounds good to me. So, yeah, that is pretty much the consistency that I prefer. Yes, very tasty. You get the dill, and you definitely get the lemon. The garlic just adds a little bit of subtlety. So that right there is your lemon dill dressing. And that there finished product in a container, that is our lemon dill dressing. You can't really see it that great there, but believe me, the taste is off the charts, and this is definitely going to be used on a sandwich or a wrap. Now, the next thing, the last sauce dressing that we're going to make today is a chipotle lime dressing. I really like this one for my breakfast burritos. Sometime a chicken wrap to give a little different taste. One thing I was thinking about when I was thinking about this sauce the other day was maybe a turkey burger with the chipotle lime spread and some pepper jack cheese, you know, something like that. Again, I like to diversify my flavors so that I just don't get burnt out or feel like I'm eating the same thing over and over again. So, you know, these sauces, with the exception of the lemon basil one that I made with yogurt, most of them have the same base. Mayo, a little sour cream to cut the richness from the eggs and the oil. Like if you want to do a ranch, you can use like parsley and buttermilk and maybe some green onion. And you can put all kind of different flavors together to make something really tasty for you. That's all a good sauce or a spread is basically an aioli. And all an aioli is a mayo with something added to it to give it a little bit more flavor. That's all we've been doing. So maybe instead of calling this the sauce episode, I call this the aioli episode. Anyway, so we're going to get started on the chipotle lime dressing. And since I've already shown you 2 sets of mise en place, just go ahead and trust that my mise en place is all squared away. So we're going to get started on this chipotle lime. Almost the same concept as the last one, except there's a couple different elements that I think you'll find fun. So stay tuned, come on back, we'll get started on that chipotle lime dressing, all right? Okay, so we're all ready now to get our chipotle sauce going. So we've got our lime, we've got a little bit of cilantro here in the corner, you can barely see that. Got my garlic clove, of course, all my mise en place, salt and pepper's there. Got my base already in the bowl, mayo and sour cream, all right? So what we have here are chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. All right, these are really tangy, vinegary type smoked jalapenos are what chipotles are, if that's what I'm led to believe, yes. So these are smoked jalapenos in a tomato-based, smoky, adobo, vinegary sauce. And we're going to use the peppers themselves. Let me show you. Pull one out here. We're going to use 1 to 2 peppers, as well as a couple tablespoons of the actual adobo sauce to make this dressing. And I'm going to start with, so good. All right. Very smoky though. Very smoky, very spicy. So, you know, when you're making, if you're making this for the first time and you never worked with chipotles before, couple of things of note. All right. You want to get inside of it first. And let me show you. You want to discard all, can you see that? All of the seeds. Because the seeds, when it comes to peppers, especially spicy peppers, the seeds and the membranes are what hold the majority of the heat and spice. So you want to, if you're working with chipotles for the very first time, make sure you open it up, scrape out all the seeds, and I mean all of them. And also, you may notice, again, the camera may not pick it up, right here, this big membrane here, that holds a lot of heat. So, unless you like super hot, spicy, get that membrane out of there as well, along with all of the seeds. Until you're left with basically a piece of chipotle paper. So yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and use 2. I always vary when I'm using the chipotle peppers in adobo. So you can start with 1, and again, you're going to also use the sauce as part of your base as well. But make sure you open it up. Use a smaller knife. Open it up, remove every single seed and all of the membrane. That membrane will have you crying to your mother. So, but if you like it really spicy, you know, I like this sauce as a smoky element to, again, like a chicken wrap. You know, like Southwest, I like Southwest flavors too. So, I like to occasionally do the chipotle sauce because it's a nice change of pace to my everyday. All right, so got those seeds out. We're going to clean up the board just a little bit and come right back and finish off this sauce. All right, cleaned up the board, so now we are going to take our 2 pieces of chipotle paper, and we're just going to julienne cut and just kind of rough dice these and add these to the base. Okay. And you want to try to cut them up pretty fine, like, unless you like the chunk pieces of chipotle in your sauce. I try to get it to a really fine consistency. Julienne strip first, and then just kind of run the knife back and forth through them just to kind of chop them up as much as possible. Out of the way there. That is slightly in my way. Alright. Get those as mushed up, crushed up as possible. Run the knife through them a couple of different angles. You're basically looking for kind of a mush consistency. See there? All right, so we're going to just go ahead and dump that in our base. All right. Don't want that. We are going to crush one clove of garlic. Garlic in there. All right, should make the bowl a little more prominent there. All right, a little bit of lime that we've already kind of rolled out and halved. No zest in this one. Now, these limes are yielding a lot of juice, so I didn't need 2. Probably only just need 1 lime, or like a half a lime and maybe just a little bit more. Okay, just a little bit more. Quick rinse. I almost forgot. 2 tablespoons of the adobo sauce from the chipotle peppers. Can't forget that. Crucial element to the sauce. Little bit of cilantro. Not a lot. I just want to have a little bit of undertone to cut this heat. A little floral undertone. A little bright crispness besides the lime. To mellow out the heat a little bit from the chipotle pepper and the adobo sauce. Alright? A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. And we whisk. You want to get all of those flavors melded together. And you know, the thing about all of these sauces I'm making for you today is that you want to make sure you give them time for the flavors to meld. So making these in a day in advance is always really, really good. Alright. Just going to pick up a little bit of that reddish color from the pepper. Give it a little taste. Smoky. I think I want to add just a little bit more of the adobo sauce. So after you have got everything whisked together, you know, feel free to adjust your flavors a little bit. In this case, it's smoky, but it's not quite smoky enough, so I add a little bit more of the adobo sauce. It's going to make it kind of look like special sauce from a certain fast food chain, or cream, red tartar sauce or something like that. It should kind of have that consistency. Okay? But that's what we're looking at right there. You can't see it as good, but give it one more taste. I actually can stand to take a little bit more of the adobo sauce. I use the sauce judiciously. All right. And there you have it, my chipotle dressing slash sauce slash spread. I still don't know what I'm calling them. Alright, so, yeah, you can't see it that great. The lighting in here is crazy. There is my chipotle spread, dressing, sauce, whatever you like to call it. So we did the lemon basil, lemon dill, chipotle lime, different herbs, different flavor combinations. I just like to add something different to my meals as much as possible so I don't get burnt out from meal prepping and from trying to eat a little healthier. So, but that's it. That's all I got for you today. I really enjoyed making all of these for you. I got more stuff on deck, so you've definitely got to come back to see the next installment of 2wlv's Kitchen. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this food journey, and I'll see you next time. Make sure you follow DJ 2wlv on Instagram and Twitter at DJ2wlv. And yo, that's it. I'm out. I'll see y'all next time. Thank you for viewing 2wlv's Kitchen, DJ 2wlv. Peace.